afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to TWIGF 2026. This section will explore the vital bridge between global standards and local implementation, titled From Principle to Power, Translating Global AI Governance Norms into Local Democratic Practice. To lead this discussion, please join me in welcoming our moderator, Dr. Zhongzheng Li, Associate Professor in the Department of Public Administration at the National University of Taiwan. Joining our distinguished panel today are Dr. Susan Ariel Arison, Research Professor and Director of the Digital Trade and Data Governance Hub, and Dr. Nai Xiao, Associate Professor in the Department of Public Administration at National Zhengzhou University, and Dr. Hui Ying Lucille Xu, Assistant Professor at the Xuzhou University School of Law. Thank you. And this session brings together expertise from public administration, law, and international trade to discuss how we can turn high-level governance principles into resilient democratic practices. Please join me in welcoming our moderator and all of our speakers with a warm round of applause. Dr. Zheng, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for everyone to participate in this panel. And I'm Shenli Zheng from University of Taiwan. This is my second time to join the TWIGF. Today, we are honored to have Professor Susan, Professor Xiao, and Professor Xu to join our discussion. I think this is a very important issue about how AI can be trustworthy or responsible adopt not just by the government, but private sector. And we all understand that there are lots of international principles launched for the past few years. For example, OECD, Japan's Hiroshima AI process, and so far and so on. But if we look closely, it's a very crucial issue that Taiwan already passed the AI Basic Act. And here today we have these outstanding professors to explore these issues with us. And please allow me to introduce Professor Susan more detailedly. So right now, Professor Susan is from George Washington University, and she is the co-PI at the Institute for Trustworthy AI in Law and Society, aka TRIALS. And TRIALS is the first organization to integrate AI participation, technology, and the governance during the design, development, deployment, and the oversight of AI system. And the TRIALS is a partnership between the University of Maryland, George Washington, Morgan, and Cornell. And they are founded by Dist and the National Science Foundation for $20 million award for a 4-year research network project. So let's welcome Professor Susan.
Thank you.
Okay, Professor Susan, the floor is yours.
So I just need my slides, if it's possible. Put them up. Thank you. Can you make it just a little bigger for me? Okay, so what I'd like to talk with you today about, and thank you so much for the welcome, I really appreciate it, is the phenomenon of AI governance. And yay! I can't even remember my own presentation. So, but the way I think about AI governance, and you guys tell me if you agree, okay, I will hold it right in front of my face, is that it is a trilemma. A trilemma is a word that is rarely used in English, right? You always hear about dilemmas, too, but this is a three-folded problem. And the reason I say that is because when you govern AI, you want to, first of all, build trust. Secondly, nurture innovation, right? So you gotta keep the private sector as free as possible. And then you want to protect people from harm. And doing those three things is very difficult. So nations and cultures are finding their own way to do that. But it is difficult to balance. And the truth is, nobody, even the most experienced countries in AI, and those would be China and the United States, knows how to govern it. Again, because that trilemma is so difficult to achieve. Do you want to move my slides forward? Or I can do it, but then I can't hold the mic. Okay. Well, all right. Here's where we're up to. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why this is such a problem. So if you don't mind, bear with me. The first thing is that when you work on AI, and I've been working on AI since 2016, so that's a long time. And what's become very clear to me is we really know very little about it, right? Even computer scientists who design various types of AI systems will say, we don't understand how they work. So here's some of the things that we don't get. What are the effects of various types of governance on innovation in AI? Do all forms of AI need governance? Maybe they don't. Do we need a new approach to governance given that many people can't distinguish between people and AI chatbots? Do voluntary mechanisms inspire greater trust or less trust? Do we need very clear mandates? And when and in what forms is AI good? And what I mean by good is good for you as an individual and good for society. Okay. Then there's lots of other things that we don't understand. For example, most proprietary large language models are built with personal data collected without direct consent of data subjects. So how can governments protect people and protect their data while ensuring innovation? Okay, another thing is the Japanese government has put forward a proposal called Data Free Flow with Trust. But they don't really have any means of encouraging this data sharing, right? And until you do, it's very unlikely that they'll build trust. Another thing, should we mandate evaluations of AI risks and mandate corporate advisory bodies to not only monitor the risks, but hold companies to account for risks? Okay, and then here's another thing. Do you know the word fiduciary? So that you can trust the system? So should AI developers be required to act under fiduciary duty? These are the kind of questions that need answers, and yet we don't have them. I'm going to leave it here since we were talking about AI governance and not go to the next part of it. But I just want to ask you guys some questions, if I may, and I hope you will feel inspired to answer. Do you think that AI must be governed? Raise your hand if you think it must be. And if you think AI must be governed, must it be governed by governments? Can corporations govern AI? For example, if you use Claude, which is a chatbot that is a proprietary model owned by the company Anthropic. Anthropic has a constitution. And in its constitution, Anthropic makes it very clear that it is governing AI under that constitution. Is that okay with you? It's not okay with me. It's not okay? Thank you for that comment. So the thing is, AI is different from many other global services and products because it's built on, A, global knowledge, right? It's built by scraping the web. And it's also a good and a service simultaneously. So that makes it very hard to govern it internationally. And let me just end, because I've talked long enough. It's more important that everybody else talk and then we all interact as a group. But let me give you an example. A lot of people turn to chatbots for healthcare advice. And let's say I'm a person who's in Vietnam and I'm using an American product, Claude. So I'm essentially importing a service. But what if Vietnam doesn't approve or hasn't agreed to, under trade rules, medical advice being given by a chatbot from overseas? Vietnam's approach to medicine could be quite different from Claude's. These are the kind of systems that the world has never governed before, and it's going to have to be governed collectively. And that ain't easy, given the current world situation, right? So there's some food for thoughts. I look forward to hearing yours. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Professor Susan. And right now we have Professor Nai-Yi Xiao. And Professor Xiao, he's from the National Zhongzheng University Department of Public Administrations. And he also served as a director at the Taiwan e-governance research center. And he's going to present survey findings on public attitudes toward AI. So that's welcome, Professor Xiao.
Okay, thank you. And okay, it's very nice that I could share this part of the empirical research results conducted by a survey last summer, and that's reflecting the public perception and attitude towards AI development. And here I'm using kind of an inspiring title, meaning transcending duality between risk and benefit. So it's kind of echoing Susan's call about trilemma or dilemma at this sense. Okay? And here, I guess about 20 years ago, I first heard about or learned about the multi-stakeholder approach from ICANN or IGF from Professor Wu over there. And then I'm trying to using my knowledge and skill in the public administration and policy, trying to conceptualize and operationalize how this multi-stakeholder approach could be executed or measured by empirical research. So this, I call it BRICS framework. It's not the country like BRICS, okay? It's just the keywords here, I call it for the AI or some proof of concepts projects of AI. How do we evaluate in whole sense about how the diverse stakeholders perceive their benefit, risk, and their cost to ensure the benefit, or the cost to manage the risk? So it's kind of a framework that I would like to derive from empirical theories that I can test from the field. So you can see from the rows, we have 5 categories of stakeholders, like the target audience or the AI service recipients, and those affecting the target audience. And the second type, the stakeholder 3, S3 here, is about the primary service providers. For example, if the governments are using chatbot on the tax filing websites, then the tax authority is the primary service provider. And of course, they have to outsource the information systems or AI system or chatbot systems to some private contract or private firms here. And then we have S5 over here that may include 2 types of public. The one is what we call the general public, and the other one is called attentive groups, which means these attentive groups are particularly paying attention to some specific issues that is caused by AI adoption. For example, human rights, and for example, privacy, or like that. And of course, in the cell, and we have 3 columns mainly reflecting the benefits, the risks among the stakeholders, and the cost in the last columns. In the middle of the cells here, there are some perception or some measurements that we can make. For example, there are some benefits, immediate or delayed benefit, or delayed risk here, or some cost, maybe political cost, economic cost, social cost, technological cost, or even the ecological cost here. So this is kind of an analytical framework that I would derive the theory to test. Okay, so now this is the model, the past model that I proposed last summer, and accordingly designed a questionnaire survey and then collect data from the general public. And the dependent variable is what we call attitude towards AI development. And then we have some controlling variable, including gender, age, and education. And the exogenous independent variables is AI usage or AI experience, and playing the mediators among the AI usage or AI experience and the additives, we have 3 dimensions. One is called AI perceived as publicness facilitation. I call it PFP. And then the second type is the risk part. That's the AI perceived as the publicness deterrent. I call it PDP. And then, of course, we have some managerial capacity that could properly ensure the benefit to be happen or ensure the risk to be controlled or regulated. So this is kind of past model that I could design the questionnaire. And the survey was conducted last summer. And we have 3 research questions that is primarily reflecting the past here in the model, okay? And then the variable that in the survey is we have some question items, including the attitude, the facilitation, the deterrent, and the managerial capacity, and the AI usage and experience, okay? And then we have some research methods, of course, primarily from the survey design, and the sampling strategies, the stratified random sampling, and cooperated with a Taiwanese general public aging above 18, okay? And then we received the data from 650 valid responses. And 47% are male, and 53% is female. And we use some statistic methods, including multiple regression and mediation, to test the model. So this is kind of descriptive findings at the dependent variable, the AI development attitudes. And if we just look at the mean column in the middle, then we can find that the general public is more optimistic about the industrial development will be a very positive impact from the AI development. That's the first one, the rank number 1. And the rank number 2 is the society as a whole. And number 3 is the general public. And then echoing Susan's just argument that the general public is kind of less confident about how government will be benefiting from the AI development here. So that's the dependent variable. And then we have the mediator, the mediation variable about the perceived or AI benefit for publicness. And then you can see that the number 1 here is about the industry, echoing the dependent variable. And then the first one is about individual work efficiency and reduce the human error. That's the number 2. And then the number 3 is a society as a whole. And comparatively, in the first row, we can see that the general public is less confident or less comfortable about government use of AI helps me access public affairs information comparatively, okay? So that's about the facilitation part. And the next 2 tables include the measurement or the question items about the deterrent or the risk from the AI. And as you can see here, the first one, the general public is concerned about AI may be exploited as a tool for criminal or illegal use here. So this is number 1. And then you can see here from the next page, okay, you can see the human dependence is kind of the addiction or over-dependence on the AI. So this is number 2, that general public is concerned. And then number 3 here, let me see. Okay, it's about the last row here. It's the spread of false or misleading information or disinformation or misinformation from the general public concerns here, etc. And you can see it's like 13 or 14 items of AI risks measured from the general public, okay? And then we have the third mediators called AI management capacity. And the question items here is mainly about number 1, and the general public's belief, comparatively, for-profit firms can effectively manage AI. This is kind of interesting, echoing Susan's concern here. And then we have number 2 here, non-profit organization, general public believe that they can effectively manage AI. And the public is the least confident that government can effectively manage AI. Okay? So this is kind of the managerial capacity that general public perceived from this survey. And then we're trying to test the model by regression methods. As you can see from this, let's see the first column, the beta, we call it the standardized regression coefficient. And the most positive effect is, of course, from the facilitation, and then there are also significant effects from the AI risk, from the AI attitude, and of course, the positive effect from the managerial capacity here. And the whole model explanatory power is about 35%, and it's just as fair here, okay? And if we dig into the elements among the three mediators or among the predictors for the AI attitudes, we can find that from the facilitation factors here, society gains from AI, and then the participation is a benefit, and then the timely and objective assessment are the three most significant factors that would affect the general public's perceptions about AI attitudes. And from the risk part, we can see that general public is the most concerned about the undermining learning or creativity is the most concerning factor that would affect AI attitude or AI development here, followed by the participation, restrictive or filter expression, and then the non-transparency, the opaque AI models or AI processes. And then, in general, we can find that the whole path well, actually, the data can validate the hypothesis that I proposed just earlier, that the path is called a partial mediation here, okay? And then we have some theoretical interpretation here. The first part is that familiarity breeds nuances, which means AI literacy is quite important from the general public, and concerning the AI benefit and the AI risk, of course. And then the second one is about governance as amplifier that can help government, for-profit and non-profit organization that would manage the AI tools very well. And of course, we have to follow the public value frames for this whole thing here. And the last part here, I could just say the last one here. And well, actually, every general public or the players or stakeholders from the profit, non-profit organizations can collaboratively institutionalize the risk-benefit complementary AI development, which means the risk and benefit may be mutually inspiring. When we know more about risk, we can know the scope of the innovation that we can make from the AI. So this is kind of echoing the whole framework here. And that's about what I could share here right now. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Zhao. I think Professor Zhao raised a very important issue that when we talk about the AI governance, we have to make sure that we are on the same page. So Professor Zhao using the National Polls survey that tells us right now the Taiwanese people, they're thinking about the AI. Okay, I think that is very important issues and also echo to the multi-stakeholder approach. And right now, let's welcome Professor Xu, and Professor Xu will discuss the legal risks of automated decision-making, so-called ADM, in AI implementation. So let's welcome Professor Xu.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wei-Ying Lucille. I'm from Xuzhou University. Today, I would like to present to you our team's research related to the accountability governance for the AI-based automatic decision-making in the public sectors. As we all know, the government agents, right now they try to deploy the AI to provide public services and also to increase the administrative efficiencies in our daily lives. And the government has already have the AI basic law, basic act, and also many other guidance. And also we also have a playbook for the public sector for reference. But as our research going, we did a survey. Many public officials, they are really worried about if the government deploy the AI for the daily lives. What if the AI, the output, given them the wrong answers or provide some decisions which has infringed copyright owners' rights, or also made some decision which is not correct or insinuated? So who will be responsible for it? So later, my talk will be as the 5 parts of this. So the first part, I will share the interview we have gone for the several cases in Taiwan. So first, I will introduce the result of the survey for some government agencies related to their AI adoption and the concerns. And the second part will be the studies on the AI-based ADM and how the responsibility will shift from the individual public officers to the institution-wise. And the third part will introduce some other international cases which have already used the AI, or you will say the AI-based ADM, and what happened. Most the cases I chose is related to they have many, I will say, disasters happen to them. So later I will introduce to you, and some of the cases still unsolved, and they cause a lot of disputes on the public's confidence on the governments using AI. So what we can learn from the other countries. So the fourth part is how are these countries respond to the problems or the cases or the things that have already happened, and what can we learn from those countries. And the last part is is AI, if AI is that so powerful, that's so viable, should we use AI to our daily life, including in our public sectors as much as possible, or we should choose, or we should assess what kind of public services or what kind of public agencies should apply AI to serve the people for our good. Okay, so this is the current situation according to our interview findings. So right now, most cases in the agencies, they adopt the AI, you will say, in the very low level. So they use in the text audit and anomaly detection or monitoring. And they really pay attention to not using the sensitive data or use the sensitive data only in the premises only. And officers, when they use AI, like the giving the QA respond to the people, the officials will return as the final decision makers or final decision authorities when they given the answer to the citizens. And they will not use AI deployed directly facing the public. Part of it, you can say, as Professor Arison mentioned about, like, do you confidence at the AI? Can the government use AI for their public sectors? As the interview, you can see even some of the agencies and public officials, they are not so confident of using the AI and directly providing the public sectors, the everyday life to their people. And more than that, some of the individual officers, they are concerned. What if one day the AI deploy into their providing the services, will they be responsible for what AI, if their harm caused, or if they will be used as a rubber stamping for the AI's output? Will they rely on everything what AI said, which is also correspond to Professor Xiao's survey on what the people are afraid or worried about. So. And also there is no official or tools to audit the AI systems. So we just discussed about this before the talk. What is AI safety? So what tool can help us to reduce the AI's risk? These are all the questions we would like to mention about. So, but in the law, as we are looking at the regulatory gap, we can see right now we do have Administrative Procedure Act, which mentioned about the automation of the decision making. But back in the times, the Procedure Act is not regulating the AI. So the law right now, it cannot be fit with the artificial intelligence fully powered, and also the possible harm they might cause. And also we survey into the AI Basic Act. It is just like a policy for the AI. So right now, even the AI handbook, there's a lack of mandatory liability linkage between the regulations and also the human actors. So as there is no mandatory pre-deployment evaluation for the AI, and there's just have a minimum guidance. So it is a voluntary one. So what can we go from that? As we can, doing the research, other scholars, they have paid attention to the benefit which AI might brought to the public service for the automation of the AI, which they seem to be the most important issues when we look at the AI. So they try to break the AI's opportunity, the level automation into the automation spectrum from A to F. Depends on their interaction between the machine and the human. As we can see from B to F, B, C, D is most of the AI will have. But nowadays, when the AI is getting more powerful, and we are really worried about the E levels, automatic decision making ones will bring to us. So if we look at the human and machine relationship, you can see the E-level system decides automatically, which have half a little bit in the human on the loop, and possibly a little bit of human out of loop, which is what we are dreaming about, what AI can bring to us, but also those we are afraid of. So type F is no legal basis, which is autonomous decisions, which most countries, they don't think the type F is the legal ones in nowadays. So as I mentioned about that, we all dream or we hope AI can bring the efficiencies, also the unbiased or in other ways to provide public services. So from the traditional ADMs, which we are doing this for a couple of tens or a couple of years already. These are more rule-based and transparent, and also the responsibility of the ADM is quite clear. But when we deploy AI, the ADM will be AI-based ADM, which is quite different from the traditional ones. The AI-based ADM are most used for prediction or for the future predictions. But the problem is the AI, as everybody knows, it's a black box. So nobody or not really many people will know why they make these decisions. So because of the black box problems, which make the responsibilities, also the borders become very, very ambiguous. So what if AI-based ADMs harm to people or make the decision which is infringe people's right, or also maybe cause harm to people? Is it the manufacturer of the AI, the user or the trainer of AI who will be responsible for it? So this is really questions before questions we have to think before we deploy it. So nonetheless, we all know for one day the AI will get into our public sectors. So we have to face what AI might bring to us. So the question will be who acts? And the next way will be who explains what AI do. And the last part will be if AI cause problems or cause harm, who will be responsible for it? So for all of these three responsibility and accountability and liability questions will be really important question for us. So back to why we want to do the research, because these three words sometimes we into the Mandarin, when we translate it, it will be the same word, same term. But in the legally field, when we discuss about these three terms, actually they are all different. So if in the future the AI-based ADM will deploy into our public sectors, the most important thing we would like to know if the automation displays the responsibility or the accountability and liability to reconstruct it. So the public officials, they are not the one who made the decisions. They are the one who evaluate, oversees, or intervening if the AI doing the right thing they want to do. So the role of the public officials actually change. Okay. Next part will introduce some of the international cases studies, which some of the countries, they deployed AI into their daily lives. As you can see, most of the cases, they are just echoes what kind of cases they will do for the public sectors. They tend to use the AI in those public service which have a very heavy volume, and also they have a lot of data they can be referring to. So in the Netherlands, from 2012 and 2023, they have a student grant fraud detection AI, which help them to reduce their burdens to granting or finding the fraud. But the problem is they have proxy variables which have racial discriminated data in the data training. So in the outcome for the AI, they tend to be discriminated or biased to giving the finding the fraud is from those low income or some immigrants. So this kind of the cases ended as the government apologized for the outcome for the AI deployed, and also they have to pay to those things they have. And the second one is the U.S. Compass cases, which is very famous at the using the AI or suggestion for the returning to commit again for the crime. So the problem is the Compass, the AI is also have problem in the racial bias according to the past cases. So the result or outcome for the Compass, sometimes they will giving the recommendation to the judge for those people have color or people who are more have trouble in they will get more percentage higher for their commitment rate for higher. For the outcome for the Compass is it's not stopped, it's still in use, but it puts the burden on the judge to decide how much percentage they will refer to the recommendation of the AI. But they do have a new rule regarding to the use of Compass. It cannot be the sole or decisive factor for the final decisions. So another case is about the Australian robot debt from 2016 to 2019. This is a real big issues in Australia, which they are doing the income average replace instead of the real amount, and this the system was designed to ask the people who who are benefit from this decide by the cases who have to prove their own. They are really not giving the wrong information. So for these unlawful debts, so the outcome of the Royal Commission thinks this is unfair and not legal to blame for the system for the result for the robot debt. So the Royal Commission, they are still deal with the robot debt, which is a very serious problem right now. Another one is in Poland, which there is a algorithm which provide help to those vulnerable groups, but they found out that how the AI do was they will provide the information to the officers, and the officer mostly will take the result, the output from the AI. So the overturn rate for the government officers are less than 1%. So and also this case they use the people's personal data, but they are not fit or comply with the GDPR. So this case has been declared unconstitutional in 2019. So from their cases, we can see for the people, even though there are government officials, have oversight from the daily performance of the AI, but if they are not in the real control of the AI, so this is not really the people, human in the loop. So these officers, they are deferred to the AI, then they will be AI will be the de facto autonomous decisions, which it's not the human who make the last final supervision for the AI. So how do the country they respond to this? As we can see, the EU, they have a right-based approach, and they ask for the high-risk level for the AI. They have mandatory procedures and requirement for it. And the US, they do have a different approach for it. For the most we can refer to are the state laws. They have some, like Colorado or Kentucky, they have a state law to provide regulation on the like bias audit or transparency requirement for the government who use AI. In Australia, like they want to respond to the problem for the robot act. So right now they are discussing to having a law which trying to regulate the government using the automatic decision making. And they design for a natural person to make the last decision, and human override what's preserved. And like in Canada, they have special procedures, like it's called automatic decision-making algorithm impact assessment, which is special for us because it uses the procedures for procedure management to manage the impact what algorithm might make to the people. So the Canada, they made it a mandatory AIA impact assessment before government agency can use the algorithm. Okay. This is the what kind of pre-deployment assessment which we should learn about. There are two kinds of assessment. One is called algorithm impact assessment. Another one is called fundamental right impact assessment, which can bring really important to us. And the first, they will document the proof of due diligence. We can make sure the government, the agency, do what they can do, and they are not only rubber stamped. And the second one is the government official will be more willing or more cautious about what they do. So the responsibility will shift from officer to institutions to the whole system. The third one is the high risk systems, which are not supposed to use the AI, should be filtered out before deployment, because for the most of the AI pro AI people, they will think AI is everything they can use AI, but not everything will be suitable to use AI. So for the last part. So these are the two approach we will like to raise before the government agency to use AI. This is very important to us as well, because if the government adopt AI, the AI will be used on us, each us. So we will need to know, the government should be first to provide us, should we deploy AI into our public sector's daily life? And if it deploy into the public service, how do we govern it? So this is actually two part of important component. They have to work with each other. So the governments for the AI deployed into a public sectors must be moved upstream. So traditional method, we deploy it and then we operate. And when there are problems, we look for the person who will be liable for it. But right now, if the AI deploy into our daily life, this is different. We should first check if the legal authority authorize us to use the new AI into our public service or not. Second one, if the technology is feasible, we also have to double check if the AI deploy into our public sectors where the where the fundamental right of the people will be affected or not, and to what extent. This is we have to double check about it. And after we have decided to deploy the AI, next we have to learn how to govern it, because AI is not the normal like a machine we used before. So we have to echo the AI's problem risk to different level. So the conclusion, because the ADM displaces responsibility, so the officer, the liability will restruct from the officer institution to the system level, and the responsibility will misalignment. From AI decides, human will be accountable. Control is declined. The third one is from the international cases, we will know if there are technology flaws and if the institutional gaps exist, there will be a massive harm to the people. The fourth one is if we do know we do want to have AI to deploy into our public sectors, there should be two kind of assessment we should do before we deploy the AI. The first one is fundamental right impact assessment. Another one is algorithm impact assessment to do with about it. So we will propose that Taiwan, if we want to use the AI in the public sector, we should use to have the FRIA and AIA mandatory to do it as a pre-deployment evaluation to govern the risk what AI might affect and bring to us, not just looking for the efficiencies, but look for the what kind of the right have been affected. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Xu. I think Professor Xu gave us a very clearly and strong conclusions about how we should evaluate those AI impact, especially the fundamental human rights harm or the algorithm impact. So we still have 12 minutes. I will invite Professor Susan, because after all the participants share their thoughts, I would like to give the microphone to Professor Susan. If we can hear more about your insights from those big company, Gemini, ChatGPT, something like that, and your research finding. Thank you, Professor Susan.
Okay, thank you. So just basically, I was interested in the research question of, do chatbot developers act responsibly towards the users? Now, to me, you know how when you get married, if you get married, you say, I will take care of my husband or my spouse in sickness and in health, right? And you are held accountable by your spouse, right? But in my opinion, responsible AI is bullshit because it exists without accountability. So that's what we found here. And basically, we used one type of example to look at user rights and user welfare. And basically, we used a mixed methodology. And I won't bore you with all of this. But we looked at websites, terms of use. Terms of use is the contract between the company and the user. Technical documents, and then we interviewed 4 different chatbots from the US and China. And basically, just to say the findings, we found that developers did change their protocols when they got sued, right? And changing a protocol is not fundamentally changing a model. But unfortunately, these companies, we found, claim to follow responsible practices without showing whether or how they have implemented these claims. So I'm not a fan of voluntary governance. If voluntary governance means accountability is diffused and unclear, and that's what I worry about. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Susan. And right now, I open the Q&A section to all the participants, all the audience. If you have any question about the AI governance, and all the questions to the panelists, please, you can use the microphone in the front. Yes, Professor Wu. Are you going to ask questions?
I try to see if anybody else can like to ask question. Well, actually, I watched the presentation, and you're talking about those AI issue. And for example, your presentation, Dr. Xu, you're talking about responsibility, accountability, and liability issue. This is not new. You know, I was born in 1952. You know, I watched the internet growth. We asked the same question. And yeah, we do concern. I didn't say I don't care, but I concern. But how the technology and how the society evolve. You know, so in the year 2000, we asked the same question about the internet, or the website, or the internet service provider, or whatever. You know, the responsibility, accountability, and the liability issue. It seems like we're coming back to ask the same question to AI. And I don't know what we learn from internet. You know, we handle since 1996 till now, more than 30 years. You know, do we learn anything from those 30 years before we keep asking the same question to AI? Because, well, my point is, I know that is important, but I will say, no matter how we say it, the AI will keep going. And eventually, AI will be the same as the internet we are using today. So if we didn't using the experience we learned in the last 30 years, and we have to be from the beginning to ask the same question, well, then let's see how it happened.
Thank you, Professor Wu. I think we can take one more question. So if anyone, yes. Please let us know your name. And
Guo from National Taiwan University. I think these are all interesting presentations, and I just have a few questions for each presenter. The first question is for Susan. So you mentioned that responsible AI is impossible, and because of the maybe I'm wrong. I get you wrong. But the point basically is the accountability issue is difficult, right? But I think market is the ultimate. If those private companies need to attract more subscribers and users, then to pay for it, and market. Users can vote by feet, and then so if they couldn't satisfy those users, then they will be abandoned by the market, and then so the actual market itself creates some sort of forms of accountability, and I think that is one thing. But for governments, I am more skeptical about government can really regulate AI, because if government can do that, and then we should have. So we have to think AI actually, the birthplace of AI will be a public sector, not private sector. And that's in the first place is whether the government really have the knowledge to regulate AI. That's just a sort of kind of like a little bit thoughts on your point. And I think for the Professor Xu, I think for the automated decision making, I think it's really there. My view is there's no one size fits all. It really depends on which agency you are talking about. Like I study FDA. FDA already use machine learning algorithms to do the border inspections. There's billions of imports lines that they need to determine which line they want to do the inspection. And that is just automated decision-making mechanisms out there. And for that kind of things, it involve no people, and there is no issue. Of course, they will impose some penalties on the violations, and they'll incur some cost on the vendors or traders, right? But for that part thing, I think it's quite different from the things that you are talking about. So my view is that it really depends on what's the issue areas you are talking about. There's no one size fits all in terms of automated decision making. And the last comments on the Professor Xiao's presentation, I think the survey research, I think is great. And I just wonder that because AI is such an emergent technology and people have no idea, and these days the media environment everybody's talking about AI. A lot of information, and this kind of information, the saturated information environment shapes people's perception of AI a lot. So I wonder, if you take the survey at a different time, and for example, if you did that during the Computex, and then people may be very optimistic about the AIs, and even they would just ignore the risk. But by the turn, when there was some kind of like the scandals or accidents that happens, then people will be more sensitive to those kind of risks. So I just wonder how you think about that. So basically, 3 questions. Thank you.
I make it very short. When you're talking about responsibility, accountability, and liability, what do you think about the China model? You like it?
Thank you for.
Model of what? China model of AI government?
AI responsibility and accountability, and also the liability, and the government can hand in any time.
Okay. Because we have only 3 minutes left, so I ask everyone spend 1 minute to respond to the questions. Let's start with Susan.
Okay, well, regarding the market, I wish that were so. Germany, I want it to be so because I am trained in economics. But that said, Meta, is the most popular platform in Germany, the country that is the most privacy-oriented of all. So how do you explain that? Consumers don't always vote with their feet, especially because of network effects or walled gardens, terms back in the internet age. I do disagree with the premise of AI is not impossible. AI governance is not impossible. I think we need to look at the AI supply chain, in particular data, and find ways to govern business practices that I think bias very much how firms use our data for AI. But that's a very different thing from actually governing the technology. And usually when I lecture on this topic, I try to think of it from what exactly are we trying to achieve here? Are we trying to improve human welfare? Are we trying to protect people from harm? What are we trying to do, and what's the best way to do it? I think you'd probably agree that'll be what you'd like to figure out the strategy for in a rapidly changing system. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. And actually, well, of course, if the survey was done in different timing or different survey questions, the results will be different. And that also means that I should try hard to get some funds to doing this survey regularly, on a regular basis, for annual basis here. And the other thing is that the general public is more sensitive to the concrete examples of AI risks rather than abstract concepts, for example, transparency, accountability. But if people are, for example, AI companion machines, and if more and more kids and senior citizens are using AI companion chatbots, and then some risk examples appear, and I think the survey will be very different from the sensitive public here. So I would say that on one hand, we should do the survey regularly to measure how or what the public perceive for the AI benefit risk. But on the other hand, we should collect, or maybe we should amplify the risk examples that would to make the general public aware about the AI risks and to stimulate innovations that will overcome the AI risk. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. I would like to refer back to the what government agencies has already used the ADM. The ADM I'm referring in the paper is AI-based ADM. Which we propose that we are not saying you cannot use ADM, means that for those which might affect the fundamental right, those one you have to pay attention to. But for those two, they are okay, then you can just do it, use it. And for the professor's question, I know that the question has been discussed back in when there's a race of the internet. But for the internet, the relation between the users and internet and the relation of the user and also the multi-stakeholder in the public sectors using the AI, I think it's not totally the same context. So especially when the AI is black box and the public sectors, they procure the AI from the private sectors mostly. And those are more complicated in the internet times, but they do have something we can learn from back in the 30 years. So maybe those are those I will keep on researching out. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Here I want to give a special thanks to Taiwan AI Center for Excellence, Taiwan AI COE, because they sponsor for our research and invite Professor Susan to visit Taiwan. We already passed the deadline for 1 more minute, so it's my great honor to have all of you here to discuss this important issue, the AI governance. I think we can continue this discussion both online and offline. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you once again to all of the moderator and the speakers and also the engagement from the participants. This will conclude the session. And should we take a group picture in the end? Yeah, we can. You can sit, or maybe just one with sitting and another one you can stand to the front. Okay, how about another one? Yeah, please proceed to the front. It's freezing. All right, thank you very much. Our next session.